What's up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfill, the bearded dwarven princess. Behind me, if you can see her, Princess Leia is sound asleep in a little cushion on the bed. We greet you, we welcome you, and welcome back to the latest Rings of Power rant video, where today we're going to be talking about this ongoing ridiculousness related to we have to create the things that Tolkien never created. Only today we're talking about languages, and this is the one it's so sacred because Tolkien himself was a creator of the languages used in The Lord of the Rings, and yet we have these idiots out there who are saying that they have to make up additional languages to fill in the gaps, and again, do the things that Tolkien never did because he left it open to interpret. We're going to get into it today. So hopefully you brought your boots, ladies and gentlemen, because we're about to wade into the thick of it. All right, there's this article over at winteriscoming.net. The Rings of Power dialect coach talks expanding Middle Earth. I love this. This just the way this is written makes me laugh so hard. J.R.R. Tolkien was an interesting writer. What? Who, who is this person who is writing this as if we don't all know who J.R.R. Tolkien was? He's an interesting writer. He's the guy behind the wildly imaginative Lord of the Rings story. But storytelling wasn't his first love, language was. That was his field of study in his academic career, and Tolkien famously created invented languages like Elvish before he wrote the story where they could be used. Now, this what really got me about this is I was digging through here. There's a part where they hired this person, Leith McPherson. Let's go ahead and look at her credentials here in a minute. We'll dive in here in a minute. She says, um, every moment I can, I go back to my favorite place, the appendices of The Lord of the Rings. And apparently this is from an article over at Inverse. The appendices feel like Tolkien is speaking to me directly. That's my template. That's my touchstone. That's my home. Try to be an ambassador for his work as much as I can. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Here's the part that I'm just different. Just I'm completely separated here. You want the sense that we're taking the audience on a journey. We have extraordinary artists placing you in a different world each time we move between cultures, and we want that individuality acoustically too. Hundreds are focused on the visual elements, but here this little team is focused on making the auditory experience rich and varied, a kind of signpost as we move from place to place. Here's the thing. The languages are hugely important to getting Tolkien's world right. There are scholars who have devoted their careers to the study of the invented languages of Middle-earth. People know what it's supposed to sound like, and yet the Rings of Power is going off the beaten path. The show is set during the Second Age. We know that. Thousands of years before Frodo and Sam were born. Tolkien sketched out this period in his books, but there's a lot left unsaid, which means Amazon have to fill in the gaps. And McPherson says there are pathways and descriptions for sounds Tolkien set. We're honoring his work. We're not venturing so far off the map that Tolkien himself hasn't given scope for it. At the same time, we have the flexibility to create, to be creative with the oral. This is what bothers me so much about what they're doing with this show because we already have, and as you can see, Peter Jackson's films did it brilliantly using the Elvish and Dwarvish languages. They're already created. You don't have to create new ones. They're already there. The fact that Tolkien himself was a language expert and already created all his languages, and yet the showrunners for Rings of Power have to make new languages up. This is the part where I just don't believe that the showrunners really truly have the appreciation for the lore that the rest of us true fans do. We're going to dive into the rest of this, but before we do, this is the part of the video I get to say, hey, if you like what you see here today, cool. This is the part where I say, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you can continue to get updates in my Rings of Power series because it's been going on now for like 20 videos and we're marching all the way down. We're also doing the Mondays in Middle Earth read through of The Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, and Silmarillion all the way up to the Rings of Power. Those are on Mondays at 11 a.m. Central. And if you want to support the channel and me as a content creator, it's really easy. There's a super thanks button down below that you can smash, which allows you to contribute what you see fit. You can also join as a member of the Adventurers Guild down there, or you can tune into any of the live streams that happen here daily and do super chats or stickers on those streams. You can also go over to the weaveinthevoid.com or patreon.com/wandering hermits, where my wife, my brother, and I are building the world of the Weave in the Void, which is that world behind me. It's a point and click adventure game, a 5th edition tabletop setting and a book series because I am an author as well. But I digress. Let's get back into the actual video component here now that we've done the CTA. They talk about how it's coming home to landscapes we've never explored before. We're on parts of the map we've never seen that Tolkien himself presents as an interpreter. His traveler didn't necessarily go to all these places. For us to be in undiscovered country is a thrill for anyone who has a sense of exploration in them. Bullshit! But here's something that I will give the credit to the writer here. He says, thrilling, yes, but also potentially divisive if the show does things that the Lord of the Rings fans feel are out of step with Tolkien's original work. They say, then again, the author did leave space for interpretation. Tolkien never really opened all the doors and cupboards in his house. He himself, dare I say, was inconsistent, McPherson said. He would revise a word. It would have a meaning here and have a completely different meaning there. Even the most developed forms of his work are not complete. It alludes in ways. I was talking about this with the showrunners at one point, and it's like Tolkien was terraforming with a language. The problem I have with this is that they literally went out and found someone. The showrunners literally went out and found someone just like themselves who has the point of view that Tolkien wasn't ever really finished. He left a lot open to interpretation. He said these things in letters, and therefore we can take that to mean that he wanted us to do these things with his book. We're writing the novel that Tolkien never wrote. Who is Leith McPherson? Says go to her website. She's worked as a voice, dialect, and acting coach to theater, film, and television productions for the last 25 years. Graduate of the Voice Studies course at the Royal Centre School of Speech and Drama in London. She's worked in, does it say? She's worked for Melbourne Theatre Company, National Theatre, Opera Theatre, National Theatre, Royal Shakespeare. Okay, can we actually get some credits on anything? Not sure. But this is the inverse article that has in detail her entire um, interview, talking about how you can, as many do, spend your entire scholastic and professional life focusing on one form of Elvish. It has potency and power. It's spoken with care, which is true. So why do you feel that you need to create new things? We're honoring his work. We're not venturing so far off the map that Tolkien himself hasn't given scope to it. At the same time, we have the flexibility to create, to be creative with the aural. No, you fucking don't. You don't. If you're going to use Elvish and Dwarvish in the Rings of Power show, it needs to be the Elvish and Dwarvish that was already created. Remember, the elves of the Third Age are the same elves from the Second Age. They speak the same language. Galadriel is the same elf in the Third Age as she was in the Second Age. So was Celeborn. All of these elves that existed during the Second Age, and Elrond, and so on and so forth, they spoke the same language thousands of years ago that they speak today. You don't need to create something new. It's not needed. What is up with these people doing this? Um, got some. Yeah, this is a cool new screenshot, though. I will say I like that. That screenshot's pretty cool. Not gonna lie, the dwarf actually looks good, but he should. We shouldn't be able to tell whether that's a dwarven male or female. Um, I wonder. Oh, don't want to look at that image. Go past. Go past. Go past. Uh, I love how people are just. This is a different landscape. Cultures have changed, some not very much, some of which are completely new, because you're inventing them. This is ridiculous. Her job also has attributes of an archaeologist and an anthropologist. And in concert with the Tolkien estate, she is preserving what Tolkien left behind and building upon what he didn't. After all, this is the Second Age, and like the rest of the Rings of Power, McPherson had to imagine how Middle-earth sounded 1,000 years prior to Jackson's movies. No, you frickin' don't. It sounds the same. The languages were the same. They didn't just evolve over time. They spoke the same Elvish then as they're speaking in the Third Age. What? I can't even. I can't even with this. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. It just this kind of stuff is what does not give me great hope for the Rings of Power show. Thoughts, comments below. Let me know. Stay tuned. We'll have another rant to you soon. Cheers.